Okay, let's see. Let me start with a disclaimer. I'm not expecting this video to appeal to everybody. This is for the free thinkers, the conceptualizers, if that's a word, the theorizers, the dreamers, the creative-minded people. These are for people who ask that question. That big question, as in the question, as in what the fuck is this world? What am I doing here? How did I end up here? Why are things the way that they are? Okay, that's more than one question, but still you get the idea. So, for those who are asking questions, this video is for you because I want to connect with those people. For those who don't ask questions because they've been given the answers, that is fine, and I wish I could live like that. For some reason, I'm like a broken doll. Something has happened with my programming, and rather than just accepting what I'm taught and what I'm told, I just can't. I wish I could, because then I wouldn't spend so many hours thinking, but I can't. So I decided to make a YouTube video for others who are like that. This will be one of many videos. I intend on taking everything that goes into my head and just regurgitating it out. I'm going to jump into it because I'm going to assume that people who are watching this video are already familiar with a lot of the concepts I'm talking about. And if not, all you have to do is Google. Let's start with Admiral Byrd. Admiral Byrd was an admiral in the Navy. He was, I think, one of the first people to fly over North and South Poles. And in his journals, he wrote about going down into the earth and encountering another sort of a flying machine is what he called it. Didn't say plane, he said flying machine, which UFO. And he interacted with these species of other people. I don't think he said aliens, he said other people. So my guess is they're humans just like us. And they said that they're concerned about our development as a race of people, because we keep kind of fucking around with like nuclear weapons. Anyway, he went into the fucking earth. He went in the earth. Like, this is our earth, and he freaking did this. He went in, and there was like a whole nother world there, which was pretty amazing. Now, of course, most people will dismiss it because, oh, that's what you're programmed to do. You're like in Westworld, right? You know, the hosts, they're programmed to just ignore things that don't fit into their programming. So you're going to dismiss Admiral Byrd's, you know, discoveries because, well, that doesn't fit into your programming, and that's fine. Once again, that's not, I'm not talking to you, those people. It's fine. Believe whatever you want. I respect that. But anyway, the rest of you, yeah, so Earth, you freaking went through it, okay? Here's the thing I was thinking about the other day. You know, when you say you live in your house, you say you live in your house. In your house. In. And when you drive your car, you're driving in your car. But yet we say we live on Earth. Not in Earth. Not in Earth. On Earth. Which then tells me that we live on something, then there's got to be something living in here, right? Dantes Inferno, I believe he talked about the 9 levels of hell. And there's, you know, hell for like the people who didn't have faith. That's the first level. And then the next level was for like people who were like gluttonous. And then the next level were people who were like vain. Different world. It's basically talking about different worlds and different layers and different circles. Same concept. On, in. Multi-layered. What if the Earth is not a spinning globe? What if it's actually a plane? A plane with a glass dome above it, okay? And let's say that above that dome is some more shit. Yeah, more people. Remember in The Walking Dead? I'm gonna make a lot of references to TV shows and movies because I guess I watch a lot of TV and movies. Anyway, they thought it was just them, right? Remember the survivors of the zombie apocalypse or the walker apocalypse, so aside from like the cannibals, which but they thought it was just them, and they had settled in. It was just this glorious existence of us, and we've survived, and then holy shit, they're the saviors, and they're gonna fucking bash our skulls in. Oh boy. And then there's this other race of people, the kingdom, I think is what they're called. The guy's got like a fucking a tiger. He's got a pet tiger. Another world. So they thought that they were alone, and then they found out later, holy shit, there's like others that are kind of like us, but with like different leaders. And I feel like, you know, maybe this is subliminal, or maybe this is like superliminal, and they're really trying to let us know in like, you know, little ways that we're not fucking alone. So, oh, and then I jumped to E.Ts. E.Ts, extraterrestrials, and not like the, you know, ooh, grays, like I've got the big ass eyes and I'm like an alien, E.T. phone home. Actually, it's E.T. home phone now. That's a Mandela effect. Anyway, connecting the dots, okay? We're heading back to Admiral Byrd. When he went through the little hollow earth, not little, but whatever, I'm guessing it was a hole, and he flew into it, I don't know. And anyway, he went there and he saw other species and they interacted with him. I'm aware that I have really big hands. I'm 6 foot tall. I just realized, like, as I'm doing this, like, holy shit, my hands are big. Okay, I digress. To them, he must have been an E.T. My guess is that the fact that they were able to have a conversation with him about our nuclear weapons means that they're more aware of us than we are of them. They're watching us, but we aren't aware of them. So that means that they are more technologically advanced than we are. To them, Admiral Byrd would have been an E.T., an extraterrestrial. Looking at the word extraterrestrial, in the word is terra, land. So the word extraterrestrial just means extra land. And in that word, it's basically saying that there are extra lands. So to the people that Admiral Byrd encountered, he was an E.T., which means then that the E.Ts that we might, and excuse the background noise, I'm downstairs and people are just fucking walking back and forth. You know I'm recording a video, but fuck me, right? Whatever. Anyway, to the E.Ts that we encounter, they may be coming down to us the same way Admiral Byrd came down to people on the hollow earth. We look at them as just sort of like a reverence sort of thing, but they might just be another land, extra land above us. The South Americans that first encountered Christopher Columbus, they were not aware of other worlds, other people that looked different from them, different skin tone, different cultures, different technological advancements. When the natives encountered Christopher Columbus, Columbus must have looked alien to them. And there are other accounts how when natives encountered Europeans, they looked at them as gods, they looked at them as ghosts, they looked at them as, it was hard for them to sort of conceptualize that because they never thought about a world outside of their own civilization. And here we are now. The popular opinion is that everything that is there to be discovered as far as land on this planet has already been discovered. But what if it hasn't? Now, I want to talk about the dome. So some people theorize that the Van Allen radiation belt, the firmament, Stephen King wrote about it, under the dome. There's so many shows that kind of keep pointing to, once again, that ideology. Now, most people think that it's a dome meant to sort of protect us, to keep us in, right? And I think that that idea comes from the book of Genesis, right, in the Bible, where it talked about the firmament was placed. And if you look up the etymology or the definition of the word firmament, it's a vault, and you typically protect things in a vault. But then, you know, after looking at this election, you know, where we just elected President-elect Trump, and looking at the platform in which he ran, one of the platforms was that illegal immigrants, totally demonizing them, was that they are horrible people, they're bad people. He literally said bad people, and that you need to keep a wall there to keep them from coming in. Not necessarily to protect us, it's to keep people that they don't want coming into a country from coming into the country. When you build a fence, it's not to keep you in, it's to keep things, you know, out. So let's just say that that theory might be accurate, and there really is a dome, and the Christians are right, or at least the Bible was right, and all these other people that have written about it, you know, that we see in movies. What's the movie I'm thinking about? Insurgent, right? They find out later, spoiler alert, they find out later that all this stuff was going on. There's actually like an advanced civilization outside of that. Oh, the village, same thing, right? Beyond the walls, beyond the forest, there's an advanced civilization, and it's sort of these themes kind of keep creeping into our media, that perhaps beyond what we think of our boundaries of our reality, there's more. Even in Westworld, which I keep coming back to because the show is friggin' brilliant. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's awesome. There is obviously this Western world, and it's time dilated, right? And they don't have cell phones, and they don't have, you know, laptops, and it's less advanced. And the people who live there, the hosts, aren't aware of a world outside that's more advanced than the world that they're living in now. So there's an undercurrent for sure that just keeps kind of pervading, right, our collective consciousness. And I don't know if we're trying to remind ourselves of something, or if the powers that be are sort of, it's like a predictive programming kind of thing. They're trying to let us know in little ways that perhaps there's more than we realize. What we consider parallel universes might not be as intangible as we may have once thought. Perhaps these parallel universes you don't need to be able to like cross dimensions or break through barriers of like time and space. They may just be as simple as drilling a hole, you know, or traveling to a particular place where there's caves that might lead you to another world. So the point that I'm trying to make about the glass dome, what if the glass wall that we have above us was actually built by the world that's above us to keep us out? And then the way they kind of deal with us is just keeping us ignorant to their existence. So what if these ETs, the extraterrestrials from above or below, are 100 years ahead of us, years rather, ahead of us, and they have conquered war, and they've conquered famine, and they are truly a peaceful society? Or maybe they never even had violence in the first place, or war or anything like that. They were just genetically predisposed to peace. And they became aware of us. Rather than wiping us out, they just looked at us as, okay, well, they clearly will hopefully get to the point that we are now if we just leave them alone. But in order to keep them from hurting us, we need to make ourselves invisible. Now, I think of that concept, and it reminds me of something that I watched on Stargate SG1, which is a really good show. I recommend watching it. And I cannot think of the name of this race right now, but if I tell you the story, and if you watch the show, you probably know who I'm talking about. They sort of colorful and feathers, and they're kind of like humans, but they're not. And they have the ability to become invisible and make things invisible. And their planet, the Goa'uld, which is the antagonist in Stargate SG1, they was coming to their planet to sort of hunt this animal that they thought was able to be invisible, and they figured if they could catch this animal, they could dissect it and figure out what makes it go invisible, and then use its biology to form a weapon of mass destruction, because that's what the Goa'uld will do. They're violent. Comes to find out that the beast did not ever have the ability to become invisible. It was actually these race of like beings, and what they were doing was essentially turning this animal invisible so that the Goa'uld wouldn't be able to hurt it, but also disguising themselves to keep from having to interact with the Goa'uld. Perhaps that's the same thing that's happening. I believe that the powers that be are aware that we're not alone. The way they maintain power is to keep us thinking that the Western society, this is the pinnacle of human existence. This is the most advanced we've ever been, and you know, it's only going to get better, and this is the way, you know, we get to that better, is by bombing countries and delivering them our what we call democracy. Now, if people realize that there's like another civilization of people who are infinitely more advanced than us, they don't get sick, they're not violent, they figured out ways to coexist with each other, then all of a sudden the people who are in control here don't have control. If you're following a leader because you think that that's the best, and then you find out that, well, there's something actually infinitely better than that leader, well, that leader no longer has any power over you, because then you're going to look towards these people. So it's in their best interest to keep us sort of ignorant in the dark, you know, thinking that, okay, you know, we started from amoebas, you know, and then evolved to monkeys, and now we're humans, and we should be grateful because this is the best that humans can do at this time. What if that's not true? Perhaps that wall, to go back to the wall, was built, to protect them, these beings above us, right? To protect them from us, because even though they are advanced, they don't have violent tendencies when we do. It's their way of defending themselves without being violent. If you don't know that you have an adversary, or if your adversary is not aware of you, then you don't have to engage. It's the most peaceful way of defending yourself, I guess, is just camouflage. And the other thing is, they're probably monitoring us. I would even take it a step further, that perhaps, not to trigger any people, you know, anybody's like paranoia, but perhaps they have sent what look like humans to our planet to sort of watch, to learn our nuances, to learn who we are. All they got to do is watch our movies, turn on TV, read comments on YouTube, and unfortunately they probably see the worst of us. And I think it's up to us that if we really want to know for 100% fact that we definitely are not alone on this planet, or this plane, or this level, or this universe, not to be kumbaya, but we need to fucking start getting along. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're black or Asian or Chinese or white, you're all fucking humans. So to another level of civilization, either in the hollow earth or above, over the dome, I guess, we're human. We're all one. And if we can't fucking get along together, why would they want to interact with us? Why would you want to interact with a race of people who can't even get along with themselves, who don't even realize that they're all one? Like, you're one race. There's no different races. There's no Chinese, Japanese, you know, okay, you might be from different places, you might eat different types of food, but your variations of the same thing. To them, okay, they probably look at us the way we look at a third world country. Especially if they're monitoring things that the general public aren't even aware of. Like, if they know for a fact that our government is intentionally kind of making us, you know, sick, and they know for a fact that there are cures out there for diseases that children are dying of, and it's still allowed to happen, and they know this because they're watching this, how does this look? Why would they want to interact with us? We can't even interact with ourselves. You know? We get so stuck on the stupidest things. It boggles my mind. Animals, what we call dumb beings, you know, you don't see a dog walking up to another dog and going, oh, well, you're a yellow lab and I'm a black lab, so you must be from like a whole different species of dog. No, they get it. We can record our voices, our face, our images. We could capture it on a camera, but we can't figure out how to get along. And until we figure out how to get along, we unfortunately will probably be kept in the dark. And that's sad for people like you and I who know deep down in our heart that there's more, despite what we're taught, that there's more. We gotta get along. We gotta keep an open mind. Two things, they're my two favorite words. What if? What if? What if a lot of the things that we dream of aren't just dreams? What if it's us peeking into another world? What if a lot of these concepts that we see sort of repeating themselves, you know, through our media, are sort of things that we're doing to sort of remind ourselves. In Westworld, I keep going back to it because it's a great show, you gotta watch it, that while we're talking about traveling between worlds. In Westworld, right, there's a world that's Western and it's sort of back in time. And while above it, there's this big stage and they can kind of zoom in, right? But they're above us watching down there. And then the way, you know, the different characters enter into the Westworld is they take elevators and they go down. I believe they go down. They go down into the world. To me, that triggers something that, like, once again, that is a sort of a nod to a different world within our world, a world underneath our world, you know. Anyway, that's my first video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.